The Bikeriders is in theaters this weekend. This was written and directed by Jeff Nichols, who adapted this to screen from a 1968 photo book that chronicles the rise and fall of the infamous bike club, the Chicago Outlaws. This film is stacked, and what impressed me most are the performances. I believe that this film has some of the best performances of the year by far. It stars Tom Hardy, Jodie Comer, who I was most impressed by, Austin Butler, Michael Shannon, Mike Feist, Bo Knapp, Carl Glusman, and many more. Everyone carried their own weight. The performances were so impressive. I would even venture to say, in my opinion, that Tom Hardy and Jodie Comer deserve Oscar nominations. So far, I know it's early and they're probably not high on anyone's prediction list right now, but they deliver some spectacular performances. Austin Butler was exceptional too. I think the three of them, quite frankly, deserve Oscar nominations. Here's an overview of the Bikeriders. Now, it could have taken several angles because this is an adaptation of a bikers club, an infamous bikers club, I'll say. It could have taken several angles as a crime drama. It could have leaned into the crime. It could have leaned into what the public perception is about greasers and bike clubs. It's more patient and deliberate in telling the story. So Jodie Comer is the narrator of the story, and she's being interviewed by a journalist who wants information about this club somewhat retrospectively. So this takes place in the mid 60s to the early 70s, and is centered around Jodie Comer's character. She plays Kathy. Austin Butler's character, he plays Benny, who is her husband, and the leader of the bike club, played by Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy plays Johnny. He wants to form this bike club for camaraderie, for family. They just want to kick it in a bar, booze and have a few laughs for family, for connection. But what he intends for this bike club to be spirals out of control because their reputation precedes them in, bordering states, nearby cities. Their reputation precedes them, and because of that reputation and that legend, they have to defend themselves against rivals or people who want to join the club. As one of the rules, they have to basically fight to get in. And as the bike club and the years get on, and the youth become more dangerous because of the times as they come back from Vietnam and so forth, they have a different idea of what the club should be. And Tom Hardy's character, Johnny, has to fight against that because it wasn't what he intended at all. They get into a little crime because of their reputation, and they have to defend that and maintain the reputation to protect themselves. Now, everybody in this movie is white. So was the audience, really. I responded to this because it's bigger than, this outlaw bike club or this infamous bike gang. It's bigger than that. At the core of it all, I responded to the fact that it was about connection and it was about family. Tom Hardy is spectacular in this film. The way he is the protector, he's very reserved and in a way very magisterial with this tough exterior, but at his very core, he just wants to pretend like they're his own kids. And Austin Butler, he takes particular interest in because he sees himself in it, and he also sees him as the future of this club. Austin Butler, as Benny, plays somewhat of the sex symbol. He is quiet and tough. The standout for me was Jodie Comer. She utilizes this Midwestern and Mid-Atlantic accent that is funny, and she's got to fight with Johnny, played by Tom Hardy. She's got to fight with him to keep her husband. Her husband gets injured. Benny, Austin Butler, gets injured, and she sees where the gang or the bike club is going, and she wants to save her family. She wants to protect her husband, but Tom Hardy's character wants to protect the club and protect him too. So there's a battle between them, this tug of war, that is also rooted in family. It's just told so well. I liked it. The performances are so good, to the point where I know it's early and they are probably not on anybody's predictions list at this point for early Oscar predictions. I think Tom Hardy and Jodie Comer deserve Oscar nominations, period. So far, their performances are the best of the year for me so far. And Austin Butler. He plays this, he has something simmering in him, and we don't get to know a lot of his backstory. We only see him through Jodie Comer's character, Kathy. We only see him through Kathy's eyes. Because she's telling the story, that's how we see him. I like how deliberate the story is. It's very patient. Like, this is a well-paced, it's not slow-paced because something's always happening, and it's very entertaining as it starts. Like, every scene is entertaining. No scene is wasted, no dialogue is wasted. The sound design is really good. Like, I did not see this in Dolby. It wasn't available in Dolby. And I think the sound editing and the sound design was really strong, because there were a lot of times when I felt like I was on the bike too, kind of like it felt interactive in that way. Uh, it's well written, well directed. There were a few scenes that were shoddy with the editing. One thing that I would say I didn't like was the music. Now, this takes place in the mid 60s and early 70s. I think the song choices could have been better. The 60s music seems to transplant you in this nostalgic way that helps tell stories. And I don't think the music choices were that strong, but that might have been a budget constraint, really. Overall, I liked the story. This is a really good movie. It's one of my best films of 2024 so far. And I gotta tell you, the performances were unmatched. Great performances. I always like Jodie Comer. I mean, Jodie Comer. She has a scene in this film, and I'm not gonna spoil it. She has a couple of scenes, but one in particular that really just brought me to tears. How she needed protection and was promised protection, and it wasn't there at this particular moment. The way she delivers it was just, that's why she's a standout for me. This is a good movie. I was really surprised. I went in thinking I wasn't going to relate to this film at all. I was surprised that I did, because at its core, it is a universal story about family and protection. At any rate, this is a recommendation from me. The Bikeriders is in theaters this weekend. See it on the biggest screen you can find.